It was the Saturday after Thanksgiving in 2009. The quiet, isolated farmlands of Burlingame, Kansas were typically silent on a late November evening, but that silence was broken by a frantic 12-year-old boy running for his life through the darkness. Behind him, inside a small farmhouse, 4 of his family members lay bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds. The man holding the rifle was James Craig Klor, the patriarch of the family and the person his victims were supposed to trust most. To understand how a successful professional reaches this point, we have to look past the violence and examine the hidden architecture of the Klor family's daily life. Before the violence, the Klors were the picture of American success, eventually settling in the manicured, affluent suburbs of Weatherford, Texas. Craig held a lucrative city management position, while his wife Karen was the beloved president of a local moms group. But that picture-perfect life required deep concessions. Years prior, Karen had walked away from her own engineering degree to marry Craig and fully support his professional ambitions. Despite Craig earning a solid $180,000 a year, he kept Karen on a rigid weekly allowance. Every time she went grocery shopping, she had to return with the receipts for Craig to scrutinize, facing his rage if he deemed any purchase unnecessary. His authority dictated every hour of her day. Craig enforced a strict 8:30 p.m. bedtime. If Karen was on the phone, she had to whisper apologies and hang up. Refusing his demands, even when she was sick, resulted in violent physical retaliation. Extreme domestic abuse often thrives in plain sight. It hides effectively because the strict rules and relentless micromanagement look, from the outside, like the disciplined pursuit of a high-achieving family. Karen eventually sought a fraction of space for herself. She baked cakes to secretly fund a gym membership, where she met a personal trainer named Sunny. Sunny offered the emotional support Karen desperately lacked, and their friendship soon evolved into a romantic relationship. This network diagram maps Craig's response to his wife pulling away. As Karen gained independence, Craig shifted from micromanagement to total surveillance. These overlapping rings show how he systematically enclosed her life, tracking her physical movements, reading every private email, and monitoring who she spoke to. The tension exploded at a New Year's Eve party in 2008. When Karen openly flirted with Sunny in front of their friends, Craig screamed at her, announcing the affair to the entire room. In retaliation, Karen kissed Sunny right in front of him. The confrontation spilled onto the front lawn, where Craig physically assaulted his wife. Shortly after, Craig assaulted Karen again following a city council meeting. He was arrested, and the highly publicized fallout forced him to resign from his prestigious position, abruptly exiling him from the professional world he had dominated. An abuser relies on total compliance to maintain their self-worth. When Craig lost his public prestige and his private authority over Karen simultaneously, his ego went into a complete freefall. Unemployed and entirely out of control, Craig retreated to his parents' farm in Kansas. There, he obsessively compiled over 3,500 pages of text messages, emails, and notes, trying to build a massive case to justify his growing rage against Karen. That rage culminated on Thanksgiving weekend. Craig drove to the Kansas farmhouse where Karen was staying. He walked through the back door with a rifle and systematically shot Karen, her 89-year-old grandmother, and his 2 teenage daughters, Emily and Lauren, who had recently rejected his strict rules. Yet amidst the gunfire, he made one glaring exception. He actively spared his 12-year-old son, Sean, the only member of the family who had not openly defied him. When police later found Craig's abandoned car on a deserted road, it painted a chilling picture. Inside, they discovered extra ammunition, unopened anxiety medication, a loaded survival backpack, soap, and canned food. He had packed for the aftermath. The survival supplies and the specific targeting of defiant family members proved this was a cold, calculated operation to punish disobedience. The ensuing legal battle at the Kansas Judicial Center centered on one critical question. Did Craig Klor suffer a sudden psychotic break, or did he meticulously plan a massacre? Look at this dual-axis timeline. It plots Craig's methodical preparatory actions against the clinical markers of a psychotic break, and you can see zero correlation. The prosecution's psychiatrist testified that while Craig suffered from depression, it in no way impaired his cognitive ability to meticulously plan the crime. This node represents the decision to spare Sean. It demonstrates a level of situational awareness that the prosecution used to dismantle the insanity defense, arguing that a man in a true psychotic break does not selectively choose his victims. The court established a firm boundary. Severe emotional distress or diagnosed depression does not legally excuse a calculated homicidal effort to reclaim dominance. The emotional weight of that dominance fell squarely on 12-year-old Sean. He showed extraordinary bravery by taking the stand to recount the nightmare he survived, yet he still pleaded with the court to spare his father's life, desperate to not lose his entire family. Craig offered no such empathy in return. From his jail cell, he wrote letters expressing zero remorse. Instead, he twisted the narrative, claiming he felt relieved because he had freed his son from a toxic environment. It took the jury just 2 hours to reject his excuses. Craig Klor was found guilty of capital murder and sentenced to death, with the Kansas Supreme Court later denying his final appeals. Coercive control does not happen overnight. It is a lethal psychological trap that builds quietly behind closed doors, disguised as care, demanding absolute perfection until it shatters everything in its path.